שלום לכל הצופים שלנו, אנחנו שוב בתוכנית של דרך הרוח, והיום אני רוצה להציג את לורנה רוז, שהיא מטפלת ברייקי והיא חברה קרובה שלי, ואני ממש שמחה להציג אותה, והיא תספר לנו קצת על מה זה רייקי בעצם, איך זה יכול לעזור לנו, בעצם איך נעשה בכלל טיפול רייקי, ועוד ועוד ועוד. אז בואו נתחיל, וכמובן שהרעיון יהיה באנגלית, מכיוון שלורנה היא מאנגליה, אז תהנו. So, hello, Lorna Rose.
Hello.
How are you today?
I'm good. I'm very happy to be on your show, Eleanor.
Thank you. Well, can you introduce yourself to the audience who doesn't know you? What do you do?
Okay, so I'm Lorna Rose and I am a Reiki master and a creative. So I'm an actor and a poet and I live in Birmingham, UK.
Cool. So tell us, for the people or the audience that doesn't know, what is Reiki?
So I always describe it as like an energy massage. So all the good things you get from a massage, like having some like relaxation, letting go, letting out tension, feeling more balanced, like a good massage should do all those things for you. And I see Reiki as like similar to a physical massage, but as in there's no kind of physical invasive touch, and you still get all the benefits and kind of even deeper ones really. But the idea is that you should come out of a Reiki session similar to how you feel when you come out of a massage, like you've let go of any like heaviness, tension, that you've had a release, that you feel relaxed and calm and balanced. That's how I describe Reiki.
So the person needs to be with his clothes, or is it similar to massage that he needs to take off? How does it work? Is it
all they have to do is just lie down, get comfy, and fully clothed. And other than maybe starting with like a hand over the forehead and the heart, like the heart space, that might be like the only kind of like physical touch to start with. And after that, me in particular, I tend to work kind of off body, just sort of a couple of inches off the body. So there's no kind of manipulation of the body involved, but you do feel kind of shifts in energy. You can feel different sensations. But all the client has to do is just lie down and drift away and just be open to whatever's coming up.
So what does Reiki heal? I mean, what kind of problems would a person come up with?
I think there's the kind of, so there's Reiki, there's like a Zui Reiki, which I suppose is the one that people are more familiar with.
I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, if you can turn your voice a little bit.
Yeah. So I'll come a bit closer in and I'll turn my volume up. Yeah. So there's a Zui Reiki, which is, I guess, the Reiki people are more familiar with. It kind of starts at the head and like moves down the body in a very specific way. Mm-hmm. And I guess people associate that kind of Reiki with more kind of like physical ailments. But then the kind of Reiki I do, and to be honest, I think all Reiki does the same stuff. It's just given different names.
Yeah, different titles.
Yeah, but I do angelic Reiki, which is again kind of can help with physical ailments, but kind of treats the body holistically in terms of like spiritual energy as well. And it works with everything from like generational energy, ancestral energy. It can get very cosmic and go into like past lives and multi-dimensional space stuff. But to keep it simple, really I think all Reiki is about giving you that holistic experience of like treating the physical, the mental, the emotional, and the spiritual kind of all together, seeing how they're like interconnected.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if a person has like a tooth pain or a pain in his legs or back or any physical problem, can you help him with Reiki? And do you heal them in 100%, or is it just to make it more easier with his pain?
I think it's one of those things that I think when it comes to like physical pain, I think it's definitely something that you shouldn't have like instead of seeking like medical assistance. But I think it can help with the management of it and
Mhm.
maybe kind of help you get to the root cause. You know, sometimes with physical pain, it's like, I don't know where this is coming from. It doesn't make any sense. You know, like it's like there's the kind of pain where you break your arm, and there's the kind of pain where you're like, what's this weird sensation? Where's it come from? It doesn't make any sense that I have this. So I think maybe Reiki can help kind of getting to the source of where that physical pain
Mm.
might be manifesting from something like deeper, like emotionally or mentally, because we can think and feel ourselves into pain sometimes. So I think Reiki is particularly good at getting to the source of what your body's trying to tell you.
Yeah.
um, and yeah, I think it can definitely help you with, yeah, just feeling your body more. And like I've had some clients where they've had this kind of particular pain or uncomfortable sensation that feels like it's more energetic than physical, and then the Reiki's kind of helped it just, just kind of dissipate, and then they've kind of realized that it wasn't really a physical pain to begin with. It was just like a signaling of something needs to be let go of
Mm.
from inside.
It's
Yeah.
kind of it sounds like the energy was stuck and you just needed to help him to move
Yeah.
this energy and let it float
Yeah.
outside from the body.
I think that's what it is a lot of the time as well. I think I don't really get clients who come to me with like physical ailments in so much as like feeling and mental, and just sometimes there's just general kind of lack of energy or this heavy energy.
Mm.
And they talk about the body more in terms of my whole body feels this way. It
So
tends to
it's
be
more
more,
like mental,
yeah,
emotional,
yeah, mental, emotional, yeah,
mental, emotional feelings that stucks in the body, and this
yeah.
is brings me to a body soul mind
Mm,
approach where all the feelings, I mean all the physical pain, the source of it is the emotional and the mental.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like I say, I think with certain physical ailments, it's definitely, it might not be, the best thing to sort of, get rid of it completely. I think you do sometimes need to let the physical, like dictate what happens next, but I think it can certainly help in the healing process when your body's been through quite a lot of physical upheaval. I think it can help sort of when you've dealt with the source of the physical pain. I think it's certainly something that can help the body like self heal and soothe itself.
So what kind of, is there any limitations why a person can't do healing, Reiki healing?
Like receive it.
Yeah.
I don't I don't think so. I mean, I think in terms of, I think it depends on the severity of the situation. Like I say, like if someone's like, just broken their leg, I don't think,
Yeah.
Reiki's going to do much, because obviously the physical pain is going to be, at 100%. And that it obviously needs a different kind of physical assistance to fix it. But I think maybe like further down the line, the Reiki energy would help with, again, like kind of soothing and knitting things back together, and also like just kind of giving you the patience and relaxation you need for the healing process. And I think in terms of like mental health, I think when you're in the deep throes of something, again, like I don't know how helpful Reiki would be when what you actually really need is to talk to someone, a
Yeah.
professional. But I think certainly when you're processing things better and you're open, I think it can definitely help you, untangle things a bit. But I think you need to be in the right place, the right mindset to just receive, and also let go of any expectation that in this one Reiki session, it will kind of fix whatever it is I'm here for. It will get fixed in one session, or I'll feel differently. Like sometimes it takes more, sometimes it's quite a long process, but sometimes it can have a really quick effect. But I think it's definitely something to come to, like after you've had like the cast put on the leg, or after you've had a counseling session. I don't think it's helpful to, it's not the kind of thing to come into when you're in the midst of something big like that. I think it's something that helps you afterwards, or something to add to the healing process.
Um, because I'm a healer myself, one of the things that I always recommend is, first of all, to combine the alternative medicine with the Western medicine as well.
Yes.
And we don't need to be extreme to this way or that way. I think the ideal situation is to combine between the two, because then you can enjoy both of the world, and you can see what affects you more. Because some people are more they feel like the alternative medicine helps them more, and some people see that the Western all the Western medicine is the only thing that they will ready to accept. So I think really the best way is to enjoy from both of the worlds, and try as much as you can, of course, according to the problem, to use the alternative medicine and try different approach to the issues that you have. So as a healer, I find that a lot of people having a lot of difficult to do stuff like Reiki or healing, because it's something that they can't see, they can't feel. And the idea that some sort of something which I can't see and feel is supposed to help me to heal. So what do you do as a therapist to help these people when they're coming to you with this kind of I don't know, confusion or?
It's interesting because I've yet to have a client that's kind of overtly skeptical, that they've come in and gone, well, I don't believe in all this, but I'm going to give it a go. I tend to always have clients who were kind of already open to it in one regard or another. Usually it's because someone they know has had it and said, come and try it. But I think what I sometimes come up against is people kind of second guessing themselves, kind of going, well, I felt this sensation, but it could have just been like the wind, or like I felt a bit, I felt something kind of shift around, but I think it was probably just because I was, moving a certain way. Like they second guess what they're feeling. But to me, it's all making sense that, they said that coming with this heaviness on, like around their heart, and if that's where I was drawn to, and there was a lot of like this sense of like, lifting that heaviness afterwards, they might kind of go, well, I felt this sensation, but they kind of like, second guess it away. But to me, it's like, I know what that was. But I think it's important to not try to sort of impose too much on them, and just run with it. And I often say, like the effects of Reiki can still, be doing their work a long time after the session. So I always tell them, whatever comes up, because they might not feel any sensations in the sessions as well. And that's important to say, I think, that like, don't worry if you don't feel anything, because it's whatever you need right now. But afterwards you might feel a release, or you might continue to feel a release. And they always say, like, just run with it, just let it happen, because it's all a good release. And I think it all depends on how open people are,
Yeah, definitely.
like when they have their first Reiki session, to just let whatever's going to happen. But I think generally, I think maybe with the kind of Reiki I do, because it's a bit more like, it's a bit less well known than Azuri Reiki. It's a bit more niche, and I guess it's a bit more kind of spiritually minded, you know, because
Mm-hmm.
even the word angel throws up a lot of stuff for people that might turn them off. But yeah, I think it's I think, yeah, people, I've yet to come up to have like a client who's come in with a block to it, which has been great, really, because that means that they're already coming in being open to it. And I don't think it's the necessarily the kind of thing you'd come to if you were trying to prove to yourself that, you know, oh, this
Yeah,
is all rubbish,
definitely.
or but
Is
I
there a
hope
common?
people do just open up to the idea of it, even if they're not quite sure.
Yeah.
You know, I hope that people would give it a go if someone they know had benefited from it, you know, because we can all benefit from trying, like you said, trying different things out and finding
Yeah.
what works for us. Mm.
Is there a common sensations which people feel during the treatments? I mean, I know it's very individual, but
Mm.
is there a sensations which are repeating themselves that people are telling about while during the treatment?
Yeah, I often get people saying, there was a point where I thought I knew where your hands were.
Mm-hmm.
But then when people have a sneaky peek, you know, I say, like, close your eyes, relax, don't worry about what I'm doing, you know, just relax. But, you know, people have a sneaky peek. They're like, what's she doing? And it's
Yeah.
often because, like, I thought your hands were up by my head, but they were down by my feet. And then I sometimes get like, I got one recently. She said, I felt like I had two pairs of hands on me. And yeah, that's always interesting. And it's just
Yeah.
proof, you know, that we're working with a different level of sensation in the body, that, you know, the body can be like aware of its wholeness. And I think we cut off certain parts of our body quite a lot. You know, we can get very like cerebral, and we forget that we have this body. And it's interesting to hear people's, yeah, it's interesting to have this thing that people keep saying, where it's like, I thought your hands were over there, up here, but they were down there. It's like, because it's all connected, and we
It
forget that it's
is.
all connected. The body's one big living organism, and everything speaks to each other. So that's something I get a lot.
I had
And
one person telling me in the end of the session that he felt that I'm hovering above him, and he can feel that I'm flying above him, and like doing something like a scan. And I was amazed because, you know, I was sitting right next to him, and it was amazing because then I knew, okay, you know, it's working. He can feel me, and from a person who never did a healing session, that's amazing to hear that he can sense me in that kind of a level.
yeah,
So that was a good affirmation for me as a therapist.
it's because I feel different things as well sometimes as well, which is,
Yeah,
and it's interesting because I think you do it long enough and you start to get into this false mindset of, oh, I know what to expect, you know, oh, we're doing this, we're doing that, there's a heaviness here. But literally every client's different, and sometimes the sensations that I'm kind of feeling kind of come into my body as well, and it's like, oh, what's that? And
yeah.
so I never know what my body's going to do in response to it either. And it's almost like there's this space where, you know, our kind of the energies are kind of combining and just kind of talking to each other a little bit, so you understand what it is that, you know, they might be feeling, so, you know, you can shift it along together. So yeah, you sometimes pick up, yeah, you feel different things as the
I
healer
think
as
I've
well.
never felt the same in a healing session. I mean, it's always different from one to another. I never know
Yeah,
what to expect, and
yeah,
I feel like, I mean, the feeling for me as a therapist that I kind of entering the client energy. It's like I'm getting inside his dimension, and it's like I can share his view, his energy. As it just feels like I'm entering inside his head,
yeah,
and I can sense what's happening inside him, in terms of energy and physical problems and emotional, especially the emotional problems.
Yeah, I think the emotional stuff is always, I don't know, it always seems to be the driving force. You know, it's always like I feel like this.
Yeah,
It's rarely like, like, oh, I've got this ache, or like I've got this physical thing, or like, I've got this thought process happening. It always kind of leads with, I feel like this and I want to feel different, or I want to
yeah.
know what this feeling is. Or sometimes it's like, I don't really want to know. I just want it, I just want to release it.
Get rid of
And
it
I,
and understand
yeah,
it.
yeah. And I've had to get used to as well, like not second guessing myself. When I first started having clients, it took me a long time to just kind of get over the fear of like, oh, am I doing it right? Am I reading things into it? Is this my energy or their energy? It took me a while to just hand myself over and go, you know what, it's not about me. Get yourself out the way. You're
Yeah,
just a conduit, for energy. And sometimes though, like, you do pick up on deep emotions that do kind of trigger your emotional response
yeah,
sometimes
it,
as
it
well. And I
could.
think it's important to, clear your own energy as well, and just take care of yourself too. I think we forget sometimes as healers that when we're helping other people release their energy, that can have an effect on us as well. And I think, we have to keep
Definitely.
checking in with ourselves about how we feel as well.
That brings me to the next question. What kind of preparations do you do? And I find it very interesting because I do it myself as well. So what do you do?
Well, I think because I work from other people's spaces, like I don't have a space at home. Like what I always do as soon as I walk into whatever room I've been allocated is kind of do my own kind of space clearing meditation, because you don't know like who's been in there previously
Yeah,
and what they might have released. So I always just kind of, have a kind of clearing of both the space and me, a kind of ask for, the vibration to be lifted, for any kind of stagnant kind of lower energy that's been released, kind of, to dissipate, and yeah, just to raise the vibration and cleanse the room as if it's the first time it's being used.
yeah,
So space cleansing's massive, massively important. And what helps with that is like smell. Like I use essential oils a lot.
hmm,
So I always kind of use like a combination of rosemary and orange oil to kind of just
hmm.
spruce the freshness of the room up and clear the room and give it this pleasant smell. And I think like lighting's very important as well. Like, it's giving the room just the right amount of light. And then I
Yeah,
think music and sound is something I work with a lot as well. So I usually bring like my singing bowl or my like tingshaws, and yeah, just using sound to raise the vibration
yeah,
as well. And then before the client comes in, I always make sure that I tune in and give myself like a little bit of Reiki and like ground myself. Like grounding is so important. So I always ground myself before I tune in. And I usually, before I get to the session, like maybe like the day before, I might kind of tune in just to get some clarity about what kind of healing the person
yeah,
might want, what kind of oils they might like, what kind of crystals to take in. So I usually end up with some kind of inkling of a specific set of tools to take in for that person. And sometimes I take in oracle cards as well, because
hmm,
I think after you've had Reiki, it's a really good place that your head's in, where you can talk to your intuitive higher self. So I usually bring in some oracle card decks and I say, I got drawn to bring this one in for you. Does this resonate? And they pick a card, and the cards always bang on because they're in
yeah.
that state where they're listening to their instinct. Um, yeah.
That's nice.
So, mm.
Um, is it, I mean, does it necessary that a person needs to be near you, or you can do it from far distance healing?
Yeah, absence and distance healing is, yeah, also like a big part of it as well. You can absolutely send someone Reiki, but what's useful is if you can kind of pre-plan with that person, like when they might have some time to just kind of
Mm-hmm.
be in a state where they can kind of lie down and relax and receive it. I mean, if that's not possible, you can still do it, because they will always get it. They will always get that healing like at the best time for them. You can ask, that
Yeah,
the healing does its work at the best time for them. But ideally, it's nice to be able to say to the person that you're going to send it to, like, let's go with 2 o'clock, lie down somewhere quiet. I'll let you know when I've started. I'll let you know when I'm done. And it's like, and it is that thing that you always have to ask their permission as well. Like, I think
definitely. Yeah,
sometimes as healers we think someone's having a bad time, we're like, oh, send them some Reiki. But it's
yeah,
like, but you do have to ask first, even though it might be obvious that they need it. It's like my Reiki teacher told me once, it's like, who are you to decide what they need? is
exactly.
it is it, if you don't ask their permission, you do it anyway, is it for them, or is it to make you feel better because you feel like, oh, I need to do something? So it's like you always have to ask.
I
And
think it's also a
ask
matter of
permission.
to give. I mean, I have to get a permission to enter their space because I'm entering to their
Absolutely, yeah.
dimension and to their soul, you can say. So
Mm,
it's a must to ask for
absolutely, yeah.
permission in order to
Yeah.
bring them the healing, or or to channel
Mm.
this type of energy that can help them. Yeah,
Even with other people, even with other Reiki masters, I know,
even
even though I
every
know that they're
person.
going to say yes, you should always
Yeah.
ask. Yeah.
And if it's a kid, I will ask permission from the parent,
Mm,
to send to the kid. I will never send it just because I feel it's okay, or the kid
mm,
needs it, or it can help him.
yeah.
No, I have to get a
Yeah.
permission at least from his parents.
Yeah. And sometimes it's Reiki's just not right for them, even though we think. And I
Exactly.
think this is what's hard sometimes when you get people getting quite skeptical or defensive about it. It's like, but I feel like this would be really good for you. It's like, because you felt
Yeah.
the benefits of it, and you felt other people feel the benefits of it. And I think sometimes you have this need in you to go like, oh, but if I could just convince them, I know they'd really get something out of it. But it's like, no, you're not in charge of that. You're not. It's not your job to heal everyone
Yeah.
the way you feel is the best way for them. It's like they've got to come to it. They've got to come to their own way of healing on their own.
Yeah.
So I think you have to let that go sometimes as well. You have to stop being that person that goes, I think this would be really good for you.
Yeah. So if anyone wants to book a, a treatment with you, where they can find you?
So I work out of a space in Sturchley, which is in like central Birmingham, and it's a space called Space Therapies. And
And for the client who lives abroad?
well, it doesn't really matter. Like, it's I do distance healing. I don't think I've ever done any further than, like, when I've sent you like distance healing sometimes. I don't think I've ever gone any further than Israel for
Well,
distance.
energy is not
I'm
about
open to it.
geography,
This
because
is the thing,
energy is
yeah, not
energy.
about geography. Yeah.
Yeah,
So I quite happily send it to anyone. But yeah, I think it's always good to have, maybe have like a little Zoom chat with someone, or at least get a
yeah,
photo of them, so
definitely.
you've got something to focus on
But
as
do you have
well.
a Facebook or anything else in the webs that a person might reach you?
So Space Therapy's website, they've got they've got like a sort of thing about like the Reiki they offer, but it hasn't got anything kind of individual about me. But you do get you can find my like reviews through
Hmm.
it on like Google reviews. So if you punch in like Lorna Rose Reiki Master on like Google review, you'll get Google reviews, and then it'll kind of send you to the website. But yeah,
Okay.
I don't really do social media stuff anymore. It's too toxic and too time consuming. But I always feel like, the right people will find you when they need to.
Definitely.
And another thing I've found as well is that when I haven't had any clients for a while, I used to get really paranoid, thinking like, oh, why have my clients dried up? But then it's like, it's because I need it more. It's because I'm the one that needs to go and get Reiki from my teacher and fill myself back up first.
Mm-hmm.
It took me a while to figure that out, but it's like, oh, you can't fill from an empty cup. Like if no one's coming, it's because I need it most first.
Yeah.
That happens a lot.
Okay. Thank you very much, Lorna. It was really interesting, and I was happy to interview you.
Thank you.
I wish you all the best and good luck, and thank you for your time.
Thank you. Namaste.
Bye.